Hi, this is Billie Beene here with another segment of Truth by Billie Beene. Today's date, 9/26/2022. This is a new YouTube channel for me. I have a subscribe button in the lower right corner of my screen. Thanks for like, subscribe, and share. Episode 415, Chairman Z said, prepare for war. So some of my sources are God in the Bible, Patriot subscribers, Joshua Philippe with Crossroads, Judy Byington, Monkey Works, Gene Decode, Mel K's recent interview of Benjamin Fulford, a recent interview by David Nino Rodriguez of Carrie Cassidy, plus. So let's get started. Okay. We have this from Joshua Phillips with Crossroads, and I've looked at quite a few sources and about the rumors of Chairman Z being under house arrest, and the CCP, which is the political party, and its military arm is the People's Liberation Army, being in charge in China. So far, there's really no definitive statement coming out from either Chairman Z in a formal way or by the CCP. So, we're left with a lot of questions. Now, Joshua Philippe, and I first came across Joshua Philippe in 2020 when I was researching the bioweapon that I had multiple sources, Cliff High, Jim Lilly, and other sources. Associated with China. And then I ran across Joshua Philippe, who apparently had been reporting on different things from China, and that included having reporters inside China who disappeared. So, Joshua knows quite a bit about China. So, he's saying this, that inside China, that Chairman Z returned from his meeting that was in Uzbekistan, a meeting of the Asian Financial Group, and he met with, I think, Prime Minister Modi from India, President Putin from Russia, and a politician from India, Swarni, and other people. So then Chairman Z returned to China about on September 24, 25, depending on the time zone issues. And it was at that point in time we heard that it was 6,000 flights had been canceled. Now it's up to 10,000 flights have been canceled in Beijing. And the People's Liberation Army, 80 kilometers or 50 miles long, went into Beijing. And Beijing was under military control, and then Joshua Philippe is coming out and saying that Chairman Z, for the past 2 days, 9/25, 9/26, has missed several significant appearances with major festivals and government events going on. So, but Joshua Philippe is also reporting that when Chairman Z returned to China on 9/24, he said, prepare for war. Now, we don't know what he meant by that, but that's the statement that Joshua Philippe is saying. that he made when he returned to China. So, that's going on. Now, Joshua Philippe is reporting that with regard to the November 2022 elections, and I put out a previous video that said, there may not be any elections, but he's saying the House, which is in control by the Dems, is moving to block a Supreme Court decision to overturn the 2020 election for president. So, yeah. The Dems are saying, no, we don't want that to happen. Okay, now, Joshua Phillips also bringing this out that President Trump is promoting people to be elected during the midterms, if they're held. That could then overturn the 2020 election event and then lead to a contingency election. So that's going on. And he continues, and I had a Patriot subscriber who knew a reporter inside China who said he or she thought the rumors about Chairman Xi being under house arrest was rumors, but he also said something big is happening and something is wrong inside China. Now, Joshua Philippe is also reporting that same thing. And is the CCP or is the Chairman Xi White Hat Alliance moving to war? Okay. And, right. And Benjamin Fulford and Mel K. Okay, so Mel K interviewed Benjamin Fulford. He's a Canadian journalist who's lived for decades in Japan, worked for 20 years for Forbes, knows a lot of contacts on a global basis. Is talking about Chinese troops being inside the U.S. Now, we had a recent interview by David Nino Rodriguez of Kerry Cassidy, who was giving out that same information. And we've been hearing that the president of Venezuela invited both Russian and Chinese troops into Venezuela about 6 months ago. So that's been going on. And we had a recent report that there are both Chinese and North Korean troops inside Russia, moving to inside Ukraine to fight with Russia against Ukraine, which is a proxy war for NATO and the U.S. So now we have Monkey Works also had verified flights coming in from across the border, taking immigrants to all 50 states. And we had Judy Byington saying that 10% of all immigrants, and Monkey's figure was like 5 million and crossed over in the past couple of years. 10% of this number, according to Judy Byington, were military-age men who had been trained by the CIA on military farms in Central and South America. So I'm thinking that we've got two different groups here. I'm thinking that we have a CIA-trained group that is South American, maybe Middle East, plus roughly 50,000 that have been distributed by the shadow U.S. military to all 50 states. Now we know that Gene Decode had said the deep state had one person per block on a global basis. So I think we have won this group, but I think number two, we've also got Chinese and Russian troops who are working with the White Hats. And the president of Venezuela invited the Chinese and Russian troops in to take down the biolabs that were inside Venezuela, operated and funded by the shadow U.S. government as the 36 biolabs inside Ukraine. And we also had a number globally for the biolabs of 336. And that led to, Cliff High's declaration that we would be engaged in a warlike situation for about 18 years cleaning up these biolabs. In other words, not a traditional war of one nation against another, but a war of good against evil. So I think that's going on. Now, I can tell you that we have had experience with the CCP and trying to invade the U.S. This information came from Gene Decode and also the late Kirsten W. So on about December 11, we had Canada, Maine, and we had an attempted incursion of 50,000 CCP. We had 3 U.S. ships out here. We had a U.S. plane, maybe more than one plane, because I also had reports of a plane going down in Michigan and one in Maine. And the special forces were able to rescue the pilot and co-pilots. Then for this situation, this was a bomb. It was a ground-penetrating bomb that was dropped in this area and took out the 50,000 CCP who were in underground tunnels. December 11. Then about December 20, and this is the year 2020, in the Dakotas, we had 25,000 CCP try to invade, and they were taken out by a rod from God dropped by the Space Force. So now, Gene Decode and Kirsten W. The late Kirsten W. had her info from the military, as did Gene Decode. So we had that going on. And that just happened a couple of years ago. So now, we would like to believe that the CCP and Chairman Z, for the past 2 to 3 years, has been executing many within the CCP who were involved in graft and corruption. So to clean up the CCP, we also had Judy Byington recently saying that it was likely that the CCP was, in the next few months, which would be now, going to vote to change their form of government to something different than a communist form. So that could be going on too. What is apparent, though, is that there are rumors that Chairman Z has been arrested, and Joshua Philippe brought this out, that just today or yesterday there was another high-level CCP individual who was tried and received a pretty stiff punishment for corruption. So it's unlikely that that would have happened if Chairman Z were under house arrest. But for sure, Joshua Philippe reports, Chairman Z returned and said, prepare for war. So now we don't know if that's a war with the. We would have to believe because for the past year and a half, information has been put forth that Chairman Xi is part of the alliance. So we would have to believe that China now is going to go on an active basis against the deep state. So we'll see how that goes. Now, David Rodriguez today in a segment entitled Kill Shot was talking about President Trump being in something like a bullfight, and that October 29 would be a decisive date. So we can go with that and look forward to that. So now we know what to be aware of, and rumors, and as differentiated from truth that appears to be truth. So it really looks good. So now we know what to be in prayer for. So this ends my special intel on this segment. I love you, and I'll see you soon.